Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Everybody, hi. This is a very unique broadcast. This is evening for me here in Germany, and you can see I've got a green screen background. We're going to have a little fun with that. German words on the media screen, which is a little weird. And I've got a room full of guests that you can't see yet because I got them split up right next to me, but we're all in one room together, which is totally not how I'm used to doing this, so you're just going to have to bear with me because it's really freaky. I don't even have headphones on, and that's also freaky because I'm used to just having them on my head. And we have a special show. Good morning, by the way, to all of you. I get to say that, not Marcus. Although you can interrupt me if you want. He's right here. He's like right next to me. I'll show you that shot in a minute. I've been playing around with this. I had to show you that the reason I can do this is because of Marcus's green wall that we've been making fun of. All right, but it has a good purpose. So here, let's bring on the whole crew. This is here we are at the Stephen Wilson concert in front of the Curryverse stand, is green screen. I can't do it perfect because I don't have all the lights necessary, but I thought we'd have fun with what we had in the house and
we do.
See what we have. Shirts, scorpions.
We are not,
markets.
to be honest, we are not here because of fashion, you know. But if he shows up with this t-shirt, guys, come on, really, huh?
Yeah. And so say hi, everybody. We got Marcus is here.
Yeah, and I say, I'm sorry, good morning, America.
There you go. Wonderful.
Katie.
And we have Katie here.
Hi, made it up this far. Delighted to have done so. And I'm here with my husband, Claude.
Hey, Claude. Thank you.
Hello.
Claude and Katie drove down, and they didn't bring any extra patisserie. I'm really irritated with that. But it's everywhere here. That's the cool thing. There's like a bakery stand on every corner. It's amazing. So we'll talk about that. And then we have our in-house chef, Deniz.
Oh, yeah.
Who cooked actually the best meal I've had so far in Europe. Second best meal was sauerbraten, but what we had this evening was phenomenal, and there's still a dessert waiting over there, so we're going to kind of hurry through the show, okay? My setup's weird. You can kind of see it here. So I've got a screen over here. I can see your comments, but Deniz is over there with the laptop, and he's going to be doing some comments. We're going to run through some slides, show you some fun stuff. This is going to be a more fun show this morning. I know most of you are at work, or it's it's Friday. It's not Saturday, and it's weird. We can't do a Saturday show because I'll be watching soccer.
Football. Soccer.
And
Come
we'll
on,
be
you
visiting
never learn
friends.
it. If he does this tomorrow, and oh wow,
Yeah.
you better wear this dress tomorrow.
Because, guys, he has to remember, we are in the place, in the stadium, where the hardcore Düsseldorf fans are.
Well,
and
yeah.
if he says soccer instead of football, I'm afraid about his health. Maybe he ends up in the hospital then.
I'll just claim dumb American and move on. They have good health care here, and they take care of anybody, so if I get beat up, I'll just end up.
Yeah, you could deliver first-hand information then, man.
Absolutely, yeah, I'll do a report on it.
So go on with your sucker shit.
Look at everybody. Hi, everybody. It's Kendra and Randy and Amos and Oz and Natural Progressive and Cindy. None of you are working today, huh? Okay. I know how that is. No, just kidding.
You're doing
so
right.
glad to have you. We will also be doing a show on Sunday to cover some more serious stuff. Because there's some other stuff. I have a lot of things to report, but this is going to be just more fun. get everybody here.
Yeah.
And Katie and Claude will be leaving Sunday before we do that. So I just kind of wanted to, do this group thing. But I'm so glad to have you here. Trev, B5, Sarah Jane, how are you? I can't see everybody here. But we got Deniz running the comments. And when you guys have something that we actually want to report that you're saying, we'll get to it in the comments.
So if you have a question, please send it to me and I interrupt John during the live stream.
There you go. Yeah, he'll just interrupt because we're all in one room. We can. So I just want to start with this image here, if I can get it to show up on the screen. There we go. I had to rework everything to not be a Zoom call. And Oz, you will appreciate that. This is weird. I'm just saying. What I'm doing here is how normal people live stream, not what we do at Bernie TV. So interesting to set up this way. This here is Markus in an Italian restaurant. Field de Burn, and he's got the Bernie Hindsight 2020 because apparently while I'm over here in Germany, Bernie decides to announce. So I guess when I come back, we've got some work to do.
Oh yeah.
I got to correct you here, John, because if you be precise, he announced when we were already in the Netherlands, So, and luckily we had him with us. We had Bernie with us in the Netherlands, guys.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Forgot about that. Here's a different background. Just that was on the plane. That was a biscuit given to me by Lufthansa on the flight. That is non-GMO, vegan, and no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives in this biscuit. I'm not saying it had like a shit ton of flavor, but it was a good biscuit. And dunk it in tea. But I thought that was pretty posh for the flight, heading to Europe. A lot of things about Europe is in the future. I am in the future to you. So let's think about that. 9 hours. You'd be amazed what they could accomplish in 9 hours. Absolutely.
Oh dear. How will it end?
Anyway, so Bernie, right? Let's talk about this. I haven't gotten a chance to ask any other Germans or Dutch people that I met about Bernie because I haven't been able to talk to them really because they speak German and Dutch. And Markus and I haven't done that. We're going to do that when we go to the market. I have some phenomenal stories about German people and Dutch people and being a tourist and being an American in Europe. We're going to get to that. That's why I decided to kind of make a new card calling this the Humility Tour 2019 because I've learned an awful lot about the way things are over here. And I think if we had a cultural exchange program for middle-aged Americans who are angry at things and don't really know what goes on in Europe and they took a tour over here, they'd really be angrier at America, wanting to go home and fix things because things are better over here. The whole grass is greener on the other side. Well, when you have a better government system, not perfect, Markus is going to yell at me, not perfect at all. Okay, they got problems. They got problems too. They're a higher level of problem. They've moved up, all right? America is behind. And I'm going to document all sorts of ways that's happening. But right now we're going to talk about more fun stuff. This is what Europe really has to say about America. Feel the burn because they got it better than we do. That's not what Dennis was really trying to say.
No, this was silly moment.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But really, that's how we should feel as Americans about Europe. Germany, I'm just saying, Germany is amazing, beautiful, clean, great people, great food, really freaking strong coffee. All sorts of interesting foods and stuff that I haven't even tasted yet. Amsterdam is like a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's
I mean,
It's a
geez.
special place, definitely.
And they think so too.
Oh,
no,
and that,
seriously, no, I don't even mean that in it. I only met nice people. And they were so relaxed. And I felt like an aggressive beast in a china shop. I was like, can I just
Yeah.
just such a beautiful place. And bicycles. You'd be amazed what happens when your population spends a lot of its time walking, riding bikes, and climbing impossibly steep stairs that nobody should have to climb. They're all in shape. They're all in really good shape.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be skinny.
HGT+1, that's good.
Hang on a second. How are we doing on comments? Anybody have anything to say? Dennis?
I come up with you.
All right, think about it in a minute. We're going to talk about German breakfast. Breakfast in Germany. This is
Nice type of breakfast.
this is what I get every morning here at the Markus Inn. And it's been amazing. Dennis is an incredible chef. These Europeans believe in a breakfast. They sit down and they eat it and then they talk. Sometimes they like get up and go smoke and come back and eat more, or drive to a store, buy some things, come back, eat more. Really just an amazing amount of time spent eating breakfast, talking bullshit, just, you know, relaxing. Because, believe it or not, most of them don't really have to work 40 hours a week, and they get like 6 weeks paid vacation and all sorts of healthcare and stuff. They're like, I got nothing to do. Let's sit here for 2 hours and eat food and talk. Could you imagine if Americans could do that? That'd be so nice. What would we do with our time? I don't know.
John, just to get in here, but also the difference is you see the waiters don't get on your nerves. They respect you and they let you eat and don't come every 5 minutes. What do you want to have to drink and so on, because they are not relying on the tips, for example, because they have a minimum standard of wage and so on, and health and all the other stuff. So therefore they are also more relaxed. In general, when we compare this, we are more relaxed. We enjoy life a little bit more.
Of course, we don't want to anger any German waiters or waitresses.
No.
Of course, the tips are important, right? But it is nothing what they need to survive, you know, in comparison to what's going on in the US.
The main thing that one has to think about is that in the States, it's basically the money that you're getting as a tip that you have to live on. But the problem is when you're sick, when you do not get those tips, when you have to stay at home, in Europe with Social Security, you still would have enough money to pay your rent, to pay to survive. And that would be the problem in the States, that when you don't work as a waiter, you don't have any income. And that's a problem, and that you don't have here, because you have Social Security. When you're sick, you can go to hospital, you will be treated, and you still have the money coming in that will be paid then through the health insurance.
Right. You don't go into debt because you don't have a job.
Yeah.
That's what it is essentially at the end. Yeah.
We're gonna. I wasn't gonna go to the comments, but Oz just said something that I need to correct here. Oz, I have not gained weight. I've actually lost weight. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Explain
true.
why.
Stairs. Mostly.
Not only stairs, because I'm not still got used to the whole situation in my house, but you can guarantee, you know, the moment I sit down for something, you know, the next moment I gotta get up because I lost something. Then I return back to the table or to the chair, and again there was something else I forgot. It is constantly running around in the house, isn't it? Like this, guys. It is the same with Dennis. He's permanently looking for his keys or his wallet.
Yeah.
It is the same with John, right? What did you guys already look for?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know,
already
but talking about weight and looks, I said when we came in, I said to John, you actually look slimmer than on the internet.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
He does.
it's actually totally different when you see a person on the screen and when you see them in reality.
Is the jacket.
You have to come and see him.
Yeah. We're going to have a U.S. roundup for the 2020 election or revolution, whatever happens, at our place in Oregon. We'll talk. We'll do that. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, actually, the real more poignant reason is that I've been eating differently. Okay, less because I'm in a different routine, but a lot more walking. Seriously, you know, and you do that on holiday or whatever. Well, I mean, I'm not eating. There's not a lot of heavy foods. Even a pizza is thinner, and you can kind of eat a whole one yourself without feeling all bloated and stuff. It's weird. We'll talk about food another time, but there's a lot of lessons I've learned there about that. It's been an amazing experience, and it could be the jacket, like you said.
The comment is great. It's the hair, obviously.
Yeah, could be. All right, so breakfast in Germany, amazing. Thank you, Dennis, Marcus, for the accommodation.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah.
The Turkish German breakfast we get every day. Wow.
Yeah.
You missed something, guys.
Stadium food, different story. I haven't tried currywurst yet. It's regional. They have different stadium foods other places. I imagine tomorrow I'm going to try a different stadium food.
Yeah.
When I go watch football, I'm trying to get used to that word so I don't get my ass kicked. Thank you. Thank you. It's it was hard.
One step closer to integration.
Thank you. Thank you. Didn't try this, but as I said in a post on Facebook, I am forever associating Stephen Wilson with curry because the whole place smelled of curry. Curry and vape. Basically the two smells.
Curry.
Yeah. So Steve Wilson, I know you watched the program. Just know that it was good, and I hope your guys liked it. I think your staff was eating the currywurst, and from what I'm told, they didn't get a good version of currywurst. So just know that you can go get better elsewhere in Germany. Interesting. The whole concert was different. The whole atmosphere was different. And I don't know compared to Marcus and Dennis what you thought. It was like German nerds. It was all nerds. It was music nerds. You know.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
And
These were connoisseurs of music, if you want. So mostly.
And would you say that there was a definite, I don't know, a message and overtone? We had an overall message for the show, right?
I think the basic message was what he had already on his latest record, To the Bones. All the things which influence us. It starts with climate crisis and so on, and of all the real important issues which surround us. And for this I'm thankful, and I can only tell you it was an absolute fantastic show. Anyone who has a chance to see Stephen Wilson, don't miss a chance. It was gigantic, wonderful show, and I'm very thankful that John introduced me to Stephen Wilson. I didn't know him before, and wow, great.
Same situation by me. I didn't hear anything about him. Then I heard from Markus that we're going to the concert, and this was 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And then I started listening, and I said, okay, I like this. And at the concert, he got me. With the whole light show, with the whole atmosphere. Also, the great thing is, people were drinking, but no one was aggressive. Everyone had a great time. It was just a wonderful experience. And anytime, guys, anytime. Anytime.
Stephen Wilson is not the guy, who attracts connoisseurs of aggressive music somehow, and he does music on a more intellectual way. And to be honest, I was not so into Stephen Wilson from what I listened to on the internet, and but the lineup was absolutely fantastic. He had great musicians around him, and this hooked me because I'm a fan of live music acts, and it was fantastic. And you should see him.
Okay.
Awesome. I want to just say that I'm looking at the comments, and I feel separated from the revolution right now. We are talking about something completely different. I'm going to tie it into social issues on Sunday, but I'm looking at you guys like all on fire, talking about Tim Knoop and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, I'm there with you, and I will be there with you in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And we will kick ass on that. Thank you guys for keeping up with it, and it looks like Bernie's really kicking some serious ass on this. And,
oh yeah.
Guys, you have to excuse us because this is our holidays. So
yes.
we are more focused on relaxing, have a good time, have a laugh. Maybe just you can't miss it via social media. So occasionally we see some stuffs, but we don't do it like outside of our holidays, meaning we have not the big discussions and so on. So please excuse us. Let's focus on that. Have a little bit of fun, and
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And go
But thank
back
you.
refreshed.
Thank you
Yeah.
all for being here. There's like 34 people. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thanks
You
for
know?
watching.
Hey, family. How you doing, family? All right, back to some other fun stuff.
Yeah.
Cars. German cars. I got cars in the Autobahn. I got some stories. Shit. The Autobahn is frightening. At least to me. Okay. I used to drive the 10 freeway back to and from work as a commuter in LA, California, so I understand scary ass fast freeways that are compact with motorcyclists zooming all around. The Autobahn is beautiful. Just the roads are gorgeous and wide and big markers and all that, but the people drive like fucking maniacs. It's just, but they're all pretty confident about it. So it's like, imagine an entire highway full of confident maniacs who all believe that what they're doing is absolutely perfect and precise because they're fucking German for the most part. So it's like, my movement was exactly, you were not, I was me, you are. And I'm just riding around like,
We Germans are perfectly connected to our cars, John.
I know that, I know that. Even when they fake emission standards, like the,
What?
Volkswagen.
Anyway, yeah. It might happen. Yeah. Little errors.
So the Autobahn is amazing, and I've got some pictures of bathrooms along the highway, which you normally wouldn't take in America, but here they're like the Hilton. And you pay 70 cents to get in them, and that's probably why they look like the Hilton bathrooms. I mean, I'd sleep in one if I did. It's like, holy crap. Tiny homes don't look this good sometimes. This is a really nice bathroom. But this picture, just for you guys, there were many vehicles like this. That's some $400,000 Audi something or another right there. I think a RS8, but don't quote me on that because I'm not.
That's not 400,000.
Okay, well it's a whatever expensive ass friggin' car, fossil fuel burning thing. Tons of these kind of fancy things in the right districts, but there's a lot of German cars here because it's Germany. So yeah.
But there is actually one thing that I just heard about 2-3 weeks ago, because there was a report about German cars, and it was actually about BMWs and emissions, and they tested one of the cars in Germany, and it had up to 900 milligram of CO2 emissions, and the very same car in California has only about 200 milligram emissions. Then they were asking, why is that? If it's possible to have it low emission, why don't they have it in Europe? In the States, in California, they have a special catalyzer that is added onto the BMW's diesel engine, and they are under 200 milligram emission, or just above it, 250 or something. But they're nothing near to 900 milligram CO2 emissions. And BMW were asked why this is the case. And they said because they don't have that legislation in Europe. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was rather funny that a big company would do a statement like that. I think that's not right. The German person actually bought the filter, and it came over from California. The funny thing is that it's actually already all the place where the catalyzer has to be put is there. You don't have to do anything, just put in the catalyzer and you're down to 250 milligram emissions. So that what this person did, and now they have about a quarter of the emissions that they had before.
But you know what they have? See, the catalytic converter has been a big thing in America for a long time. It was added to vehicles to reduce emissions, and a lot of Americans took a hacksaw to their Bronco 2s in the early 80s and cut that sucker right on off, because then it improved their gas mileage a hell of a lot more, and it sounded cooler, and that was the other thing. So the catalytic converter reduces performance significantly, and that is why BMW.
But this is a different catalyzer than the catalyzer that you're using to get the lead out. This is a catalyzer that is used for the diesel engines to keep the emissions lower. Sure. And that is apart from the catalyzer, a different kind of.
Right, I'm not talking about this is with
you're
unleaded gas,
right,
but I know what you're talking about for diesel engines.
Yeah.
That's
this is
story.
specific for diesel engines, but the catalyzer, it's true that many people, they weren't too happy about having the catalyzer and took it out because the engine isn't as powerful.
Right.
And
it doesn't have to push us.
and you have an extra item piece in the car that could break down that you might have to change.
Yeah, I remember those
Yeah.
suckers. But then all you really have to do is be Volkswagen and fake your emissions. And, right? Be smart like the Germans. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's move on.
All right, moving on. Because, you know, the United States doesn't really have anything to talk about there. Any comments we want to bring up?
They're talking about the rigging of 2016, and the system is still was be fixed, and all the stuff, and it's total chaos about this. But hey, it's your chat, guys. But please.
No, it's all right. They're talking about the revolution. That's like the important thing.
Only because we're on holidays, the revolution doesn't stop, of course.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you something else, some Europe-y stuff here. So the shopping carts, kind of cool. Okay. The little red thing dangling there, that's a clippy thing. You have to pay. You have to put a euro in to get a shopping cart. All right. I don't know, prevent theft or
You
whatever.
put a plastic thing in.
Or you could put a plastic.
Yeah.
But the other, so that's kind of cool. You put it in, and when you get back, you lock it together with the red thing. And the red thing is, you can give it to your kid to play with if you got a little toddler in the seat. The other thing is all-wheel drive, right? All-wheel drive on this, which most Americans are not used to all-wheel drive on vehicles yet. But the shopping carts all have all-wheel drive because, you know, why not? I guess the ABS too. They're difficult to control if you're not used to it as an American. So just be careful if you come over here because you just run into all sorts of. You're like, whoa, where's it going? It's going over here. I was like all over the place. Then I was watching it, and the Germans in the store, like the one person will be up front holding it, another person will be in the back. So what they've really done is designed a cart that can go around corners quickly, but you have to have a two-person team to run it. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Oh, people commenting on this, and Amos says in the northeast they have it too with the cards, so that they have to pay for their cards to get one. And Aldi is a German company, one of the biggest grocery stores in the world, a company in the world, and they're expanding to the US, and they have the same system like here in Germany, also in America now. Yeah.
Not in Oregon, man. Carts are free.
Well, they are free. You're getting the money back when you put the card back.
Doesn't matter. Borrowing my money and using it. Okay. Moving on.
You can hold on to the card.
Oh, by the way, just one detail. In France, you need a 50-cent usually coin, so half a euro. In Luxembourg, it's 1 or 2 euros.
Of course it is.
Wow.
But you still get it back.
Is the cart nicer?
I don't know. I don't notice the difference.
Bathrooms are nicer. 70 cents. I pay.
Pretty sure you have to pay half of it to the taxes, right?
Okay, guys.
All right, more on grocery stores. Haribo, which I talked about in a brief video. Okay, candy over here is insane. Gummy bears invented over here. Did not know that. All right, some gummy stuff invented over here. That's the good part. Bad part, they're really into their black licorice and some really crazy black licorice with salt and just weird stuff. This. Oh wait, you can't see that.
You gotta show
on
it.
the screen. Hang on. This
is not what you think it is. It is licorice.
Licorice.
This is more than 1 kilogram of it, you know.
Of all different flavors.
Of all different kinds, you know. And yeah, this is not for me, this is for someone else, of course. Yeah.
Someone special.
Of course someone special, because I would not give someone unspecial more than 1 kilogram of this fine licorice.
So understand that it's salty black licorice that he's actually giving as a gift, and somebody over here is going to receive it and be joyous about that.
Katie will.
Really?
No. I buy it at a big bazaar at the end of the year in Luxembourg.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
charity bazaar.
It's very popular in
Dutch
Holland as
stand.
well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Very
It's
popular.
Dutch stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Finest, Dutch finest.
It's,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, listen, I just want to be very clear here. I am just having fun here. You know, the fun thing about exploring new cultures is hey, look what they do over there, right? I can't stand black licorice. And in America, I don't think it's as popular. It just seems to be a very popular thing over here. Here, and I don't know if it's popular all around. And to add to that, toothpaste with the black licorice flavor too.
Oh, tried that.
Interesting. All right, more grocery store stuff.
With drinks as well. Ouzo pastis.
Oh
There you go.
yeah.
More candy. A lot of candy.
But isn't that the candy from in Amsterdam?
That's Dutch candy, right?
Hang on, we're looking. Here we go. Yeah, these are some pictures from a Dutch candy store. In
Yes,
Amsterdam.
this is where we got it all. You know, it was like in a fairyland, right? You know,
Yeah.
it was all kinds of different kinds of Dutch sweet, typical Dutch sweet. It was fucking crazy, to say the F word for the first time on this show.
Guys, imagine a picture. Markus acting like a little child in like Willy Wonka's candy factory in this shop, and John and I are standing outside and thinking ourselves, where the fuck are we? We are in fucking Amsterdam, and he is in his fucking little candy shop to buy licorice. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, but the saleswoman was also very charming.
Oh yeah, of course.
To be honest, when Marcus goes shopping, it's often a lot of that. Where did he go? Why is he looking over there? Why is he buying that? Do we need this? No. Why not? shopping with. It's fun though.
Yeah.
He's redecorating his house. If you saw the picture on Facebook, we got him a plant. Right?
Audrey.
Plant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My sister-in-law's
fun.
called Audrey.
Candy.
What?
Candy.
My sister-in-law.
Amsterdam is like Vegas, sort of, and Disneyland, kind of combined, depending on your taste, right? Like it's like for stoners, it's both Disneyland and Vegas. So all you
You
ever
can
need.
cycle into the canal.
my different experience. It wasn't as awesome as I expected, and I'll get into that on the serious show on Sunday, because it's not as commercialized because they've had weed there forever, and it's just kind of part of the community, and they don't make as big of a deal out of it.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it another time. I want to talk about sauerbraten because this shit's good. It's basically the European version of beef brisket. Okay, in my view as a cook. We come up with beef brisket, they take it over, do some weird shit with it, add red cabbage. You can really thank America for this. So, sauerbraten, however they really make it, is just beef that's really tender, falls apart in this really dark, nice sauce. It's got these potato balls. You see those potatoes? That's not a potato that's like perfectly shaped. That's a ball that you cook up mashed potatoes, run them through a strainer, shape them into a ball, add some seasonings, some bread, boil it, and it comes out like that. And it gives it a nice, bouncy, fluffy. Yeah, Dennis was explaining how these are good. Dennis is
Doing.
really tastes really good.
Sounds like gnocchi.
It seems like you could do that with them, like
Yeah.
bounce them, but they probably don't.
The Italians, they probably call them gnocchi.
Yeah, it's kind
It's
of
similar.
nochi, but not as dense.
It's bigger.
Yeah, not as dense. Way bigger. Nochi's
Yeah.
illegal, right?
And some people play tennis with it also.
I could imagine. And then you got the red cabbage there, okay, and also applesauce. All right,
Yeah.
Apfel, and I don't know what sauce is.
Apfelkompott.
Apfel compote.
Apple
compote.
Yeah, compote, yeah.
Yeah.
Apfel is, they spell that cool. Apfelschola is my sparkly apple juice that I like. See, I'm learning. Going shopping and having to buy shit is a great way to learn German words and
Oh yeah.
probably irritate German people trying. So yeah, the sauerbraten, amazing, wonderful. Second best meal so far in Germany because the first I had this evening. Third was probably the Indonesian food, but it was so friggin' hot. Oh my god! It's that kind of hot that just tastes so good, but it's burning the living shit out of your mouth. You're like, I don't care. I'm gonna keep eating.
I think really, guys, for Indonesian food, this was the European standard. You know, it was hot, you know, but well, it was European hot.
Not Indonesian hot.
No way.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hi, Sarah Jane. Thank you.
Bye.
No, hi. She's saying you guys are great.
And she has to go.
Oh, she has to go. Bye. Oh, you gotta go.
Bye.
That's good. Hi, everybody. Any questions? Hey, guys. Glad to see you again. Hey, Justin. How are you? How are you? Are you? I'm looking forward to an update from all the ground troops to find out where you're at. I know that Justin got a role in local. I don't know what exactly you're doing. You told me, Justin. I forgot. And both you and Heather, and we got Charles who's there. I'm already itching to get back. We got some fun stuff to do here in Germany still, but I'm already itching to get back and get to work. I really am.
Yeah.
Excited about that. All right, moving on from sauerbraten really quick. Food. You know, I love food, right? Somebody asked about beer. I am not a drinker. I am a smoker. So my goal is to smoke my way through Europe. But I'm not really going many other places, really. So Amsterdam was like Disneyland. That was good enough. We could go back if we wanted to. I'll talk about. They said I talk about weed on the Sunday show. Lots to tell about that. Good and bad. Interesting stuff. Patisserie. Honestly, Dennis was talking about this. It is an enigma. We do not understand. Patisserie, or no, was it you? Patisserie in drugstores. Drugstores and bakeries. Nobody knows how they're so fucking many
I told
of
you.
them
I
here.
told you. Yeah.
They're all in business. It's like there's all these empty stores along the malls. Now Markus is showing me in his town. He's like, this is where I grew up, and this shop and this shop, this closed and this is terrible. But all the patisseries are open. All the drug. There's like a drugstore in one corner and one. It's like Starbucks. They have the power of Starbucks. I do not know why. It must be because of the.
So what do you learn about this?
We learned that people are healthier over here, and so they feel like they can eat a lot more pastry stuff, and they have health care, right? So the pharmacies are everywhere because they're not afraid to like go and buy drugs because it doesn't really cost them. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It changed it, and I say that jokingly, but the truth is, I did see evident signs of how just things that Americans would take for strange. Why is that there? Why is it? But it's because of the systems they have in place to take care of them, okay? They actually have systems to take care of the people, so they don't have to do these things. The trash. I was like, Markus, how do we recycle? Where's all your bins, right? How do you sort it out? Where's the blue bin? Where's the green bin? Where's the orange bin? You can't he's just dumping it all in one bag. I'm like, you're such a bullshitter. You guys are supposed to, I thought you guys were green. It all goes in one thing, and they burn most of their garbage. Now, I know nuclear power, I know coal mines, they're shutting them down, and I know that Germany is not going to meet their Paris Climate Accord numbers. But we ain't got much to say about it, do we, America? Right? Because they're way far ahead than us. What I have to do in can't even recycle in my town. They keep telling me half the garbage I put in my recycler isn't even allowed anymore because they just shipped it off to China, right? And China said, we're not going to take your plastic anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's piling up.
You know, so I mean we need waste to energy. They're doing waste to energy here. Landfills are a profit whore. That's basically why they exist, and they're horrible. We just don't do it right. We could be doing it better. So I don't want to sort my garbage. You know, the fact that I could just put it all in one thing and send it on its way, that's a service their taxes pay for. Okay, think about that.
Yeah, and in France, we have all the what we call normal recyclables go in one bag, which is transparent, and that goes out every 2 weeks. We put it outside. Then there's the regular bins, and then we have a recycling center which we can go to at any time to take all the bigger things. And even garden waste and everything else, and they're all different bins, and if you have any questions, there's someone there to help you. So a lot more is recycled.
France for sure is. I thought like 90 or 95% of your garbage is clean burned, and the toxic is like 5%.
Yeah.
But you guys do a lot of nuclear power, right?
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, and a lot of people. I know there's people in the audience. I know nuclear power, and I'm sorry, it produces a waste product. Not cool. So I'm out with that. All right.
Yeah.
Just not a thing.
I had a huge argument over that in 1982, just before I finished school, with the teacher who was French, who was terribly proud of 69% energy independence, mostly through nuclear power at the time. It's more now. And I kept arguing that this was irresponsible and everything else. That was 1982. And here we are.
The question nobody can answer, we had the same discussion here in Germany, is where to put the nuclear waste.
Yeah. They ship it to
Right.
England, don't they?
Well, they,
And now what, actually?
Yeah.
in France, they have now near us. Well, near us, it's about probably about 250 kilometers, about 150 miles away. It's called Bure, and they're talking now about putting the nuclear waste down into caves that will then be closed, sealed off. But nobody knows what will happen over time. Erosion and if there was an earthquake, if there was whatever, and then the question is that waste that won't just be there for 50 years, but it will still be there in 100, in 200, in 500 years, and will the people then remember what's down there?
Exactly.
And they don't, and then there will be people. It will definitely be pollution, and people will die from it. So
But the
you
people
have to think
living
about
now
that.
who are in charge don't care about that.
Yeah.
And we have the same thing in Germany. I don't know exactly where it is. I think it's in a former salt factory
This
in a
is
mountain.
former,
They
former
put
salt mine.
they put in
Yeah.
I don't know how many hundreds of barrels of liquid nuclear waste. And they sent in a cam or a drone a couple of years ago. Yeah, and they found out that most of those barrels, meanwhile, are rusty. The liquid runs out, and and nobody dares to set a foot in this. And it's a complete disaster. So the question stays: what to do with the nuclear waste from the nuclear power stations?
Yeah.
That is a great question. We shouldn't be producing any more of it until we figure it out.
Yes.
Here's Melissa H. I can put, by the way, everybody, check it out. Pulling in some comments with the new background. I had to build new graphics. Be impressed. Thank you. And yes, Brian Cheese, I do have more energy because I am on vacation and I've had a week to just relax and be stoned and see things and shut up while I listen to other people talk in foreign languages. And so it's been nice. It's been nice. Melissa says in Vermont, starting in July, we are not allowed to throw away any food scraps. We're required to compost. We can take it to the recycling center. I think that's badass.
That's great, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Hey, and no, it's from Vermont. Who is from Vermont?
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Melissa, in Luxembourg, before we left, which is 17, 18 years ago, we were also required to do that. In France, it's optional. It's possible, but it's not required, which is a pity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Tracy Navarro, you want to know about the toilets? They're pretty good.
What?
I don't have much to say about the toilets.
Now the question is regarding of waste, and so for example, we have a system. I can pretty much say for all of Europe, we normally have toilet with water to drain the dumps and so on into the system. We usually don't use here compost toilets, only for camping reasons. Otherwise, I would not know.
But generally, they're limited. The amount of water is less than the amount of water used in water toilets in the States.
Yeah. That's
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm dicking around fixing the green shot. I can't make it any better. I know we lost our good lighting. Here's us the Steve Wilson concert, everybody. But I know it looks crazy.
Claude, you
Just
have
having
one of
fun.
those. What do you call it? Make America Great Again hats, almost. It's a red something over your head.
That's from the concert.
Yeah,
I know. But it's sitting over you.
Also, we have both here. We have toilets have paper, and in some cases also water to clean your between downstairs. But mostly paper.
Bidets, I don't know what you call
And
them.
I personally only buy recycled toilet paper, so yeah.
I'll have another serious discussion about that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
On Sunday. About just space utilization in a home outside of crazy ass freaking stairs in Amsterdam. That's beyond nuts. But the efficiency and what I see, because there is less space here, right? More people, less space. There's a lot more people here thanks to us. We go blow up places. Those people end up in Europe oftentimes. But really, just the design of a home and the size of things, right? Things are smaller because there's smaller people. I don't know. Everything is smaller. It really is. Seriously. And I sort of mean that. People are healthier overall. I mean that in general. I'm throwing myself into that as an out of shape American. Okay, but you see it. I saw it everywhere. I looked and looked. I'm like, where are all the obese people in Europe? And maybe they're in France because I haven't exactly seen a giant sampling of people in Europe. But I haven't seen any in Germany so far. I didn't see any on the way to Amsterdam. I certainly didn't see any in Amsterdam. Most people like toothpicks because they're all riding bicycles.
that bit's true.
They are.
There's
Seriously.
thousands upon thousands of bicycles.
Yeah. Bicycles are the machine there. That's what you do.
Even the taxi drivers told us, if you want to travel, the easiest way in Amsterdam to travel is by bike.
If
you're a taxi driver, tell you this.
If you have ridden a bike professionally for 30 years and won many awards, try Amsterdam. You might survive riding a fucking bike. Okay? No. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
they're crazy.
you also should get used to cobblestone, right? Which makes it much more complicated to run a bike.
They ride beach bikes, basically.
Yeah.
Which was big old cushy seats and cushy because they got cobblestone and you're going all over the place. What I saw was really cool, and I honestly, if I went there and bicycled for a year, I'm sure I'd be fine after crashing many times. But they ride so close together. The bicycles they get it, and you just watch these swarms of bicycles move through the area, and it's kind of beautiful. It's just it looked like the future. I know they're riding like a 200-year-old machine, but it looked like the future to me because it smelled beautiful. There were less cars in general, less noise in general.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's very flat, so that's an advantage, because obviously when you live in a city or a region where there are hills, in Holland and Amsterdam there are very few places where you have loads of difference of hills, and then it's easier to cycle if you don't have an electric bicycle.
It's mostly when you cross a bridge, then you have a little height difference. But normal. If you look at a geographic,
A map.
Yeah, when you look at the map, the Netherlands is flat. They don't have hills. Nothing. And we Germans like to make fun of the Dutch people about this. So
Because they got it easy with the bikes. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
No. I think there is a hidden envy behind, in my opinion. I can imagine this, because whenever I'm in the Netherlands, I experience the same feelings. What those people there concerned. If you look at their faces, their faces already expresses. They are much less stressed. They are much more relaxed. We had one incident where we were dropped at home at our apartment. The taxi driver gave us some more information we would need for later, and it took 1 or 2 minutes. And behind the taxi, another car was waiting completely patiently. This would be not possible here in Germany. After 10 seconds minimum, you can bet you get the first honk, that the driver would honk his horn, that he wants to push it, I'm in a hurry, go on, Absolutely, in no way I experienced this in the Netherlands, and especially not in Amsterdam. The people are so laid back, it's just great to be there.
It's unfortunate we didn't tape the comment from the one guy in the one cheese shop, and cheese shop who said, "Hey, we have so much cheese. Okay, let's face it, wheat and so on in Amsterdam. If you're not chill out and mellow and so on, something is wrong with you."
He said you're in the wrong city then.
Yeah, you're in the wrong city, wrong place.
He's right. Yeah.
I just want to drop in. Claude, is that your daughter in the chat there?
Yeah.
Well, and she's saying something interesting about most people in France are not that fat, but the kids at school are smoking more and more stuff starting at age 11. That's a big problem in France. What do you as parents have to say about that? Is this what's going on?
It is true.
Yeah.
It is true. She's in a good school, so they kind of keep an eye on it, but she knows more about all kinds of things, including everything regarding smoking, than I do.
Okay.
But she's got her head screwed on for a lot of things, so.
Good.
She's stubborn, otherwise. Could add a few things, but no, but she's a good kid.
That's good. Well, thank you for chiming in there. I'm glad to have your input. Say her name again.
Roisin.
Roshi. Thank you.
It means little young rose. It's kind of little in
Yeah,
affectionate
got it.
terms.
Yeah, Roshi.
Yeah.
It's spelled interesting and blurry for me, so I have a hard time with it at all. I'm trying to read the
Roshi.
comments. Melissa just commented, you mean the Germans don't keep buying things to fill up their homes and need bigger homes? No, they can't. They couldn't afford to. I mean, it's basically, you've got your home, and if you have extra stuff, I don't know what
I
you
keep
do
trying to
with it.
get rid of it.
Yeah. So, just honestly, you guys, you saw the size, and this is not again, this is just a perspective, but your basic washer and dryer. I will take a picture of Marcus's washer and dryer. Everybody would be like, why are they so small? Because they don't buy big fucking washers and dryers. that's why. They don't need them. They don't need them. It's just a different. It's just different. Americans, our narrative has been for so long bigger, better, stronger, bigger, right? It's all about, attaching it to the male masculinity and everything we make is bigger.
Yeah,
you can't do that here. Right?
Don't you guys prefer smartphones who are not as big as a surfboard? I think the same is with laundry automations, and washing machines. Why getting bigger than needed?
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just different perspective on things.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're back to slides. I showed a couple Stephen Wilson. This is a good picture here at the. I think this is the pre-show we're listening to. We got a little private pre-concert, and there's about 100 of us in there.
Yeah.
Because I did spend extra. Yes, I went all posh. And bought the VIP because I really wanted to do that, and it was really fun. I had a good time. Yeah. Okay. Here's the three of us. I am not drinking beer. That's Apfelschorle that you can get everywhere. It's really awesome.
And I'm drinking beer, and it's not Apfelschorle.
Sparkling water and apple juice mixed.
Yeah,
They
but
love
there's
it
no
in
sugar.
Switzerland too.
No sugar.
Yeah.
It's that's what's nice about it. If you've got sparkling apple cider in the United States, it's loaded with sugar.
And unfortunately, you can see that Dennis had a terrible accident. He lost 2 of his fingers.
Markus, please shut up. I was on a rock concert, so rock it on, guys.
which made me think, it got me back into the mood. And so here's our Spice Boys cover, live in Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
Right?
The next day.
Yeah, thinking that. What else do I got here? Posh Potty. I told you I was going to show you that. That is actually a picture of the bathroom at a random rest stop along the Autobahn.
Yeah.
Right?
Come on.
I told you I was going to take a picture of it.
I've never seen inside of those.
No?
Well, there you go.
Okay, not those. Yeah.
There, let me,
They're actually quite good because there you have a little more privacy when you're standing
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. Well, it's amazing the room. Listen, they take their privacy seriously with their bathrooms and their cleanliness. Look, here's the counter. Look, think of a rest stop along, any major highway in the United States. You would not. You know what they look like. I'm not even going to comment. It's gross. That's just all I have to say. Pretty amazing there, right? So 70 cents. 70 cents. You got to pay. You're paying for it. But
I have to say that that is more and more the case, not only in Germany. We noticed that as well in France, in England, when we're driving through there, that the bathrooms, they are a lot better.
Yeah.
Because where we're talking now, 30, 40 years ago, sometimes there was just a hole in the ground and that was it. but like nowadays it is a lot cleaner. You might have to pay 50 cent. Sometimes you get a ticket then that gives you a reduction if you buy a drink
Coffee
or food.
or whatever in
So
the
it's
store.
basically the 50 cent that you paid. You get a voucher for that you can use then same
I.e.
value.
you're a customer.
Because then you're a customer in the restaurant or in the cafeteria, but they are a lot cleaner and they do spend money on that
They
to
weren't
attract
when I was
people,
a kid
because
in
the people
France.
when it's clean, the people they will go there and they will stay there. They will then spend an extra buck or an extra euro to have an extra drink or to have a drink, to have food, because it's clean, and cleanliness attracts people.
Yeah, well, it's nice. I've got some comments here that I want to just look at. Alma says, where do homeless people pee? So why don't you guys, as I saw a bunch of these public bathroom units, talk about your homeless in, we got Germany, we got Luxembourg, France. So starting with Germany, tell me about how your homeless people pee. Do they wild pee? Because I was told I could not wild pee.
Well, in Luxembourg you have public loos that people they can go to. You never you may not tell a person being not allowed to use a loo when you have a cafe. So you have to let them go to the bathroom. But usually it is the case that when it is a restaurant, when it is a cafe, that they will ask you to consume, and then you may use the bathroom. Obviously, you do have people that just go behind a hedge and pee there, but mainly in cities, you would have them go to public loos and.
And I actually in Luxembourg, until literally the crash 10 years ago or so, I never saw anybody who was homeless.
In Luxembourg.
I never did.
This is exactly
in
what I
Ireland,
ask
in
you
Spain,
guys,
in other places, but not in Luxembourg until 10 years ago. And now you do, and more and more. But I'm not sure all of them are living in Luxembourg. I think some of them are brought over from the other side of the border.
They're commuters?
Well, commuters. I think there are gangs involved, and that makes
there
it
are
difficult.
gangs involved. There obviously, and it looks like that.
We're right. His town is right.
It looks
on
like
the
Romanian people that are basically being brought over to ask for money, and basically there are groups of people that are collecting that money off them, and so they're basically being exploited. But that's,
so I don't. Claude always says that you shouldn't give them money because it's taken off them. So the only thing I know to do most of the time is, if it's cold and freezing and whatever, I go get them hot coffee or a sandwich, and then you can see they.
Do you have shelters, homeless shelters?
there are homeless shelters. There's even by law in France, for example. At a certain time, they decide that the shelters they have to be open so that people they can sleep there. In Luxembourg, there are shelters as well for homeless people, so that they don't have to sleep on a rough. Obviously, there are still people sleeping rough who don't want to go into the centres, or who are not allowed into the centres because of other problems.
Sure. All right. What about Germany? What do you guys do with your homeless people? Where do they pee?
In Germany, we also have homeless shelters, and they have the chance to go there. Some, or I don't know how many, but some of them deny to go there because they are afraid they get the things stolen there, and it's maybe too narrow, too tight with other homeless people there to live there, and alcohol is also a problem, and. They prefer maybe to stay outside overnight, and of course then they only have the chance to go into the bushes, and it's not easy, especially when you heard in December, I think it was in Berlin, the Deutsche Bundesbahn, which is half private, half government, or half state enterprise. Was told that the homeless people are no longer allowed during the winter days or winter nights to stay in the station section. They had different kinds of argumentations why this is now so. but in the end it shows they have absolutely no heart. There's an old saying, it says a lot about the society, how they treat the weakest in their society, and this is a clear example of
definitely the
And also, guys, we have to face it. It doesn't matter if you're looking into America, in Europe, or anywhere else. We have to be. The thing is, we all look at the same. Most of our population at homeless people with disgust, with we don't want to have something to do with them, and they are not part of it. It's their own fault that they're living on the street. So this is we personally not. But if you look at the discussion, for example, if you look, TV is also a bad example. But if you look to the German talk show, you have the rich guy, you have these, and then sometimes they invite a homeless man, and after this discussion, you see most of these homeless people, they're intelligent, they have education, they have everything. There was one situation in their life that fucked them over.
Yeah.
And really, guys, is this a reason why we stigmatize them, don't speak with them, and so on? I, for example, if I see a homeless guy, I go to him and speak to him. Because the biggest thing you can do to hurt the person is to not to recognize him as a person. So, no, that's all I have to say to this.
To not acknowledge them and look them in the eyes.
The Currywurst comes out. I'm testing out backgrounds, pictures that look better. Currywurst looks good, guys. That's the best one so far.
Yeah.
So this is as good as the Land of the Lost type, green screen right now.
I just see Randy just says there that in Eugene, Oregon, you can't use a homeless shelter if you are in a wheelchair or you need assistance using facilities, restroom, shower. I don't think that that's true over here. The only thing that I can say is that maybe not all homeless shelters they have the possibility to accessibility for a wheelchair, but a wheelchair would definitely not be a reason why a person would not be accepted into a homeless shelter. And anyhow, because of European legislation, every public building has to be accessible for people in a wheelchair. So there are definitely still places where there are problems getting in, where there might only be one way for a wheelchair getting in, that you may not be able to use the front door, but there has to be, all public buildings have to be accessible for wheelchairs, or they have to try to get the person in, even if it's lifting them up, but they have to be able to access every building. And I'm pretty sure that would be the case for homeless shelters as well.
What happened, John, with the child's mom when he got in and everything? We're kind of, approaching the end of winter. How do things go with the homeless shelter and everything? Do you know, in Corvallis?
I have no idea. We'd have to ask Charles Mann.
I've been wondering about that because I can't get that Corvallis newspaper. They won't let me read it in Europe or something. And I get the headlines and I can't see the rest of the information, and I keep wondering what happened.
Right.
I made the same experience with Corvallis News.
But Tracy says there that 40% of American homeless have jobs. There are people over here who are homeless and who have a job as well, who are staying in cars. It's obviously, or it's definitely not 40% of the homeless that have a job. I'd say that many homeless do not have a job, but because of problems finding an apartment to live in, there are people living in the car and going from the car to work, which is definitely not the way it should be, but that you probably find all over the world.
And at one point, homeless aside, years back, before I ever married, I was in Luxembourg, and a friend of mine had a baby in England, and she was thinking of coming to work in Luxembourg, and I was looking into renting apartments for the two of us and the baby. It was more difficult by far to find an apartment for the two of us plus baby than it was for two of us plus any kind of animal. It was just insane because if you're in an apartment, they're already expensive enough. So the people living there often are a bit older and they didn't want to be disturbed. So animals, okay, we like animals, but babies, that was a different story. In the end, fortunately, she sorted her life differently, and I was really beginning to wonder.
Okay.
And Randy asked about if you have to have doctors and nurses to be open for the handicap. No, because if there was a problem, a health issue, then the person would be basically told to go and see a doctor or to go to a hospital because of health care for people living over there. Then if the person be homeless, if there is no address, they would still be going to the hospital, and then it would be a special office that would take care of the payment, which is usually then the city corporations that have offices that are the offices sociaux that are basically taking care of bills that may not be paid by people who are actually not registered. But usually everybody declared in Luxembourg has Social Security. So if you are living in Luxembourg, if you have an address, very often those people, they do get an address to have a physical address in a centre, and therefore in the homeless shelter. So therefore they have an address, therefore they have Social Security, and therefore then there is no problem of not being able to be treated. So those people as well, they can then go to hospitals and be treated. The doctors and nurses, they're definitely not part of the staff in the homeless shelters in Luxembourg. I'm talking now about.
All right.
It's in Germany almost
Good.
the same, but okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Great. We're gonna move on from homelessness. And I see you got great comments out there. Brian, thank you for being here. See ya. All right. And Justin Bryce is letting us know the Corvallis Men's Cold Weather Shelter is back at the Hanson Tire Center in Southtown for the season. The other day, I did see ODOT go through and clear out some camps along the river because so that's still happening. We got a lot of work to do in Oregon with regard to that, but I want to move on and talk about the yellow vest that I saw everywhere. Okay.
Like a conspiracy.
Yeah. So in Germany, Marcus keeps telling me there are no yellow vests, and it's not going on. It's full of it. I saw them all over the place. There's two guys right here. They're protesting this piece of art. I don't know why. These two guys were getting ready to do something on the corner, start a riot. I have no idea. It was and the kids. I saw people, yellow vests, leading groups of kids in their own unique uniforms. They don't give them yellow vests, they're different. Must be different for each school. Anyway, they were going off to a riot. People on bicycles wearing these things, people with shovels doing stuff on the streets. Shovels. So yellow vests are everywhere in Germany. He keeps claiming it's not a movement. It's full of shit. He's full of shit. What are you saying? What, they're not yellow
It's
vests?
bullshit, yeah.
What are those things? Why do
why
you
safe. They're
it's
visible
safety, you know.
from
This is the
cars.
Safety.
See 'em.
this is exactly
Safety.
what those vests were
Safety.
made for, you know.
Yeah.
Construction workers right now. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people wearing yellow vests, and it's for a lot of reasons out there, and I just thought it was funny to take pictures. That's really all. Seriously, that's all. But I did put a quote on this other slide that has a purpose here, and it's, did I just say that? And it's because something completely different. It's because I realized just earlier today in a conversation talking with Claude, okay? And we were talking about police, and we're talking about the difference between police in the United States and police in Europe, and it was a trigger for me, right? And what happened really was Claude gave a perspective that was unique to me. It was a European perspective that I was like, wow, this is different. And I was like immediately, holy shit, no, that's not what's going on. And I got all this, and it was just like, it wasn't the fact that I was like, okay, let's tell you my perspective on the United States justice system and what's going on with our cops and everybody. You guys all know what's really going on with our cops and how horrible it is. that wasn't the big point, right? We're just sharing perspectives and exchanging information. For me, when I said, did I just say that? It's that I realized that I was on the other end of an equation, that I had been seen as an American for decades. And I was like, holy shit. I'm the dude in the oppressed country, right? And it makes you feel all sorts of fucked up. Made me feel, I was like, holy, wow. I just had to explain the horribleness of our police system and our justice system to somebody. And it was like, I can't even describe I don't even have an emotion around it yet. I'm still processing it. But as an American, to be born and grow up one way, thinking America is best, the greatest, Europe, they don't know what they're doing, and then to realize, holy fuck, I'm the dude in the oppressed country, explaining to the first world nation what's happening, looking for an intervention. Seriously, anybody want to raid our country? I mean, that's. I just wanted to provide that perspective. It freaked my shit when that happened, it was like it made the revolution maybe 10 times more real in that moment. You know what I mean? I don't know, just wanted to share that with you, Claude, because it just blew my mind. You know.
Yeah, but it just, when you know that the other person could have a weapon, you have a different reaction. Independent from the fact that what you said, that there are police officers that obviously are in there for the wrong reasons, that don't get the right training, and that is obviously a problem. But when in Europe, you are not afraid that the person in front of you, when you are a police officer, you don't have to be afraid that the person could have a gun, because anyhow that would be then an illegal gun. Well, obviously it could be a registered gun as well, a legal gun that a person has.
We went down this road. We'll talk about this again, Claude.
Yeah.
We went down this road.
Yeah.
But really, he just said something I want to counter. He said, as a cop, he's saying, I don't have to be worried about the citizen carrying the gun. In the United States, as a citizen, I have to be very afraid of the cop carrying a gun. The difference is in Europe, cops don't use guns as their first choice. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's really the
That's
point.
what
in
you
Europe,
said.
they are trained to use every other means, including their fucking brain.
Yeah.
And what I saw in Europe, what I've seen of my little tiny, minute, very tiny sliver, let's keep that in mind. This is my perspective. It's incredibly subjective. So please, just bear in mind that. I didn't see a massive police presence. No, I wasn't in France with the yellow vest watching shit fly around, but, the police don't stand out because they're not dressed in full battle armor with, they have yellow vests on often, right? It's, they look more like people that are there to serve the community than people that are there to assault the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you've got citizenry in the United States that live in fear. You've got the police that have decided they live in fear, but they have carte blanche to murder anybody they choose, and all they have to say is, "I feared for my life," and they're done. Move on, go have another job. They don't get prosecuted. And that's, our justice system is broken, so we don't have any accountability with the bad cops, and that lets everybody be a bad cop. And if you're not a bad cop, then you're a silent cop, because none of the good cops rot out the bad cops in our system, because if you're a cop, you're a part of the club. Yeah. You violate that club, and you're out of the club.
Well, there obviously you do have some problems even within Europe, and when you mentioned now the yellow vest in France, and the riots, which was to read between the lines. The yellow vest movement is basically a movement that is not doing the riots, and 99% of them are normal citizens who just don't have enough money to live on,
Yeah.
and they are out in the streets, and they are out to be there to point out that there are people living on less than €1,000 a month. Far less, and that they do not have the money to have a decent life,
Right.
and that is a problem. And then when you have the media that basically shows you riots that is done by less than 1% of the people, you see that on mainstream media, and that's not the way it should be. They should also show that 99+% of the people are just out there to point out that they have problems. And then coming to the police, there has been quite a big discussion in France because of the plastic bullets that they're using, and there are people who have lost eyes, there are people who have lost hands,
Yeah.
there are people who have been killed, and there is obviously a big discussion going on in France if those plastic bullets are allowed, if those
Should be allowed, yeah.
grenades that they're using basically to stop riots,
Yeah.
smoke grenades, if they may be used, if they are not harmful or whatever. So there are discussions about it, and obviously one doesn't know if things can be covered up. It sounds like what you say, that that is a normal thing in the States, that those kind of things are covered up when the police officers killed someone, but that shouldn't be the case. And they have more and more in Germany, in France, in Luxembourg, police equipped with body cams. So it's
Yeah.
basically recorded the whole time when there's an intervention. So if there is a problem, they can investigate about it.
Right.
And
so let me take that one step further.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you have a justice system, everybody's got a body cam. But the body cam footage is either not admissible and not released, or they say we don't really give a fuck. Or the judge says, whatever, I call it this way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really, we're talking a system so corrupt,
Yeah.
so broken, that it doesn't matter what the cop does. I mean, here, let me give you a perfect example. The white cop that shot the black man that was in his home that she broke into,
Yeah.
Dallas cop,
Yeah.
okay? So she murders a guy, but because she's a cop, she was not taken directly to jail. Her home was never searched. She was allowed to move. They collected no evidence. Okay? There's a separate, I don't know, I know she lost her job, and I think she actually finally got put in prison. But their due process was not followed in that case. She was treated elitely because they wanted to find any fucking way they could to get her out of that situation. But she fucked up so bad they couldn't cover her ass.
Yeah.
And that is the only reason that she is in jail now. The only reason. And we all know this. We all know this. Our system is so bad. And we need to fix it. 2020. But really, the justice system gets fixed in the midterms and in those off-weird elections where we have to elect judges and DAs that aren't shit. Right? So keep that in mind. Those are those weird things on the ballot that we never learn anything about. Right? So anyway, we're going to move on from that because it gets me mad. We're getting really late, and I'm still on holiday, and I told you this was going to be a fun show, and so we're just going to fly through some other things real quick and get out of here. Marcus left the set. He's like, fuck this, I must smoke. Right? So anyway, here's being Marcus. I think this is coming away from Amsterdam.
No, on the way
on the
to
way.
Amsterdam. And I was like, what's going on with you guys? We're going to Amsterdam, Las Vegas of Europe. What's going on here? And this is the face I'm getting.
It was cold.
You almost look like twins.
It was thick.
Thank
Oh.
you, Katie. I was
no,
waiting
no,
for this
no,
comment.
No, I can't do it. No.
Move
We're
on.
gonna move on.
What?
I can't talk about that right now. It's too painful. Maybe another day. All right, moving on. If you didn't see these pictures, if you didn't, am I looking at this camera? This camera? Where's my director?
pretty
Hello, camera shot.
Director, come on.
That's pretty good, that shot.
Thank you. So Amsterdam, get my joke? Yeah. So, so steep, insanely freaking steep. These are the stairs at our Airbnb. Those stairs are older than the building, possibly. I mean, they were like brought in from ancient Egypt. They're so old, and they have like dips in the wood. It's just, you can actually walk on them better barefoot. I think they just like moldy. Frightening. The rail is coming off the wall. They got this netting over here. This is what happens when you, I don't know why they do this. I honestly don't. I have no idea why they do this. Nobody else builds stairs like this. Marcus was like, Germans would never allow that. They would never put, no, they would tear these out and put the, I mean, historical, apparently this is normal. So am Stairmaster, between bicycles and stairs, these people are going to disappear. And also, I thought the Netherlands was where they had windmills. I found one. It's back there in the background between me and Marcus and Dennis.
Yeah, the problem is we mostly drove on the highway, so you don't see much of the inner land.
Yeah, well, so actually we saw a lot of modern windmills along the highway as we were approaching the Netherlands. We get in the Netherlands and I get that. So just saying, they got stairs, bicycles, they got to up their game on the windmills because, dudes, that's old models. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I defiled a restaurant and ate an Italian pizza that had American ingredients on it, and I don't care. Pineapple and ham. The dude was visibly irritated that I ordered this. I'm not joking. Okay? It's like, you fucking kid. People in there were like, fucking American. Everything else I did, fine. Ordering this, offensive.
Yeah.
Well, that is on menus. They have it as the Hawaii
for Americans,
Hawaii pizza. The Hawaii pizza. That is a known thing. Is ham and pineapple.
I know. Well, here this is back at you because this is gross. Marcus put mayonnaise and ketchup on his fries.
Would you put on ketchup?
No, he's complaining that you know. This ignorant is complaining that I put mayonnaise and ketchup on
in Germany it's Rot-Weiß is red, white. It's basically ketchup and mayonnaise that they put on French fries. I prefer mayonnaise. Others prefer
the special
ketchup. The Germans, they have the two.
The special Dutch sauce, you know, the fry sauce, you know. I don't know what its name is.
Yeah.
Oh, delicious!
Is it?
Yeah, delicious.
I still like malt vinegar. That's what I got
Oh,
as a kid
so
in
nice.
Ireland.
All right, I can handle that on fries. That's a British thing. All right, because that's a British thing, not a German thing. You don't get the.
No, it's not German.
And Irish.
Is it? Okay.
The vinegar.
Irish.
I am not British.
Whatever. It's not French.
Yeah.
And the French do that with the mayonnaise on their nasty. That's just so gross. You can't handle that. It's just never.
And you know the French cuisine, right, guys? So.
Yeah, but the French say
it's
they're Belgian.
everywhere it's different. I saw a report recently, probably about 2 years ago. In Japan, they put mayonnaise on everything. They put mayonnaise on pizzas. So
people liking their mayonnaise. That's really gross.
The tastes are different.
Yeah.
In America, they have their popcorn is salted. In Luxembourg, there's sugar on it. The first time when I was in the States back in 1984, I went to a movie. I was Ghostbusters, and I had a huge bucket full of popcorn, and I was just like about to enjoy it. And then it was salted, and I was not happy. I was really disappointed.
Who did you gonna call?
Sorry?
Who did you gonna call?
All right, we're almost out of here. Moving on. These are going to be quick shots, no deep discussion.
Yeah.
This is just a teaser. Keep looking at that camera when I switch this camera. Racism and espresso. We're going to talk about an incident that happened today at the espresso cart. But we're going to do that Sunday because that's serious shit. But racism here too. Europe isn't perfect, and so that was an interesting conversation. The espresso that I had was amazing, but it took all of the liquid out of my mouth. I was like, that was interesting. We'll talk about that. Really good coffee. What's that picture? This looks like a flashback to my 90s. That's Dennis having a really good time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So glad.
Oh, yeah.
We all had a really good time.
Yeah.
It was fun. Marcus, got a new plant. Audrey.
Yeah.
Audrey's in here looking nice. And then just a couple nice shots. There's the food we had tonight. Dennis cooking that. Ratatouille, right? And this is eggplant stuff. and it was really yummy. And I don't get to make eggplant at home because Lori does not like eggplant, so I was very thankful that Dennis cranked this
Yeah.
out. So, what's this picture?
Aubergine to
And that's
us.
the seeds. So it was
Delicious.
wonderful. It was just outstanding. Had a great time
Yeah.
so far, and we've got another week and a half to go. Dennis is getting up and leaving. Bye, Dennis.
Can see
Walking
you.
across the show. Oh, he's bringing
Oh,
food.
show it.
Ah, dessert!
There we go.
Okay,
Dennis made dessert. I think it's
I keep this
fruit
for
berries
John.
and cream. We're gonna go eat that while we go out with a song. Thank you all for being here. What we got? 37, 32. Appreciate it. We'll see you on Sunday with some other
See you.
serious stuff.
Have
Bye.
a great
Bye,
night.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to getting back. It's going to be so exciting. Hey, I'm up here. See, I did this again. It's going to be so exciting to get back and start the damn revolution with you all. Thank you
Yeah.
for getting a head start. We're going to talk about making shows and interviewing
Thanks,
people. Any of
Dennis.
you that want to be involved with the process, I know a lot of you have reached out an email. I will get to those emails. The P key on my laptop is broken, and I lost my readers the other day, so I really haven't been responding to many people in email. But when I get back, we'll start cranking. We're going to get on it. And anybody that wants to help and do shows for the crew, or
no,
be part of the crew, let
That's
me know.
Dennis.
You just took his away.
He just served everybody.
Yeah.
So let's go out with a mouthful.
Yeah. Okay. See you. Bye
See
bye.
ya.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Oh, we're going out with Perminating. Steve Wilson.
Great,
Put it up
Dennis.
here.
Wow.
Because, just remember, 10 years, everybody. 10 years. All right.
10 only.
All right. Here we go. See you in a second.
Yummy, yummy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I have a blast.
Great, Dennis.
All right, I have no idea why the audio isn't playing on this. Something's messed up, everybody. So sorry. I'm not seeing it run through. So,
Next time.
shit, we'll get it fixed tomorrow. Sorry, everybody. Bye.
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 Bye.